This video is brought to you by Sweetwater. At this point, I'm very confident about my opinions on digital amp products versus real tube amps. I do probably use digital solutions around 70% of when I record guitars, so that says a lot on what I think about them. Still, I don't think they are like equal, but that is just because they are different things. One thing that I do find scary and something that I really want to explore is how to use digital amps in a room where you are like getting loud sounds and not going direct into an audio interface, because that's what I'm used to. I've always been afraid of these FR active cabinets, and that is probably because we guitar players are really used to our guitar sounds coming out of guitar cabinets, and we have heard that coming through a monitor or a PA, and that isn't always that good, honestly. So I want to tell you everything that I learned using this for about a week together with my HX Stomp and my Kemper, so you also maybe can overcome the fear, or it's not actually just a fear, it's a real thing. It's hard to go from a guitar amp with a cabinet or a combo to this. It's a different thing. That's why you need to learn some stuff. The first and most important thing is that you will need to use a lot of time tweaking on your devices, no matter what you use going into something like this. That is also something that I'm used to when I use my HX Stomp, for example, going direct into my audio interface. You will spend a lot of time tweaking. And doing that, it's also easy to get lost because you are tweaking so much to find the right tones. So you will need to take breaks. A lot of breaks. I do that. I just turn off everything. I go outside, grab something to eat or drink, and I get back in and I try again. For me, real tube amps in a room, they are really simple. You just set the knobs at noon, you set the volume, and you are basically there. You might want to do some small tweaks, but there's not that much you can do really. With digital stuff, and especially when you bring in something like this, there's more to tweak to find something simple but good. So prepare to use some time, and I promise at the end you will get there. And when you are in that process of tweaking your sounds, set this active cabinet quite loud, or at least as loud as you think you will use it later. And that is mostly down to EQ. It's easy to set the treble and bass wrong if you have this on a very low volume, because you perceive sounds different at different volumes. So try to set it as close as possible to the future use of this setup. And speaking about EQ, these speakers have a lot more range than your guitar speakers. I'm pointing in that direction because I have my cabinets there. So you want to add some sort of EQ to your signal chain by shaving off some top end and some low end. I usually go around 80 Hertz, like down at the bottom, and you can try different things. I've seen online people shaving off quite a lot. I think I set mine around 8K. That's my sweet spot, but I've seen people go even lower. And that is also really important to get the sounds right, because you know, with guitar amps, we got it right in the 50s and we're not changing anything from what we did back then. So do that. And something that I discovered on my HX Stomp when I was tweaking and I found my bass sound on the HX Stomp was to use my favorite overdrive pedals, not overdrive pedals on my digital unit. There's nothing wrong with them, but I just found that using my favorites, the pedals that I used on real amps earlier, I was just like moving those from my old rig to my new rig, and it made it more me, sort of. And I used those pedals to stack on top of the tones that I set my HX Stomp to, so I could like add in 1 or 2 or maybe 3 gain pedals to get more gain and saturation, and it was still in the same ballpark. I prefer that over having 2 different channels or 2 different amps even on my HX Stomp. Gain staging with your favorite gain pedals. And I would also say that in general, not only with gain or fuzz, do use your favorite pedals together with your digital device and your active speaker. Of course, sometimes you are limited. Maybe you spent all your money on your digital device. Of course, then just use what you like inside of that pedal or that unit. But I also found that part of my guitar sound identity came with me from the analog world into this new one, with using my favorite pedals in that setup. And one last trick that I've seen on YouTube videos and Facebook groups, and that goes to the HX Stomp or the Helix, or like every Line 6 product. I believe they have this thing, and it's called the retro reel, which is tape simulation basically. And you put that at the end of your signal chain, and it makes everything a bit more real or analog or organic sounding. And I think that has something to do with the top end frequencies. Again, you are shaving off some more there and adding some saturation and some tape warble. And it's a bit gimmicky, but to me it really works. did go on a tour once where I had a digital amp solution on my pedal board. I didn't have something like this, so I was using the monitor together with the vocals and the bass, and for me that was just horrible. I didn't like it at all, so I really wish that I had something like this. You can get this in a 212 or 112. Actually, you can use this in a stereo setup if you want to. And of course, when you have something like this size, you can absolutely go into the discussion whether you can bring like a combo amp instead of this and a digital amp. I think that is for a different video. I can definitely see some pros and cons to both of those two types of rigs. Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comment section. Thank you for watching this one. Hope you learned something, and thanks to Sweetwater for sending this awesome thing for me to check out. Bye.